All right, where are we? We're in the 2023 Spring Major. Like, where the hell have you been, dude? I had a house full of people for the last week, so everybody left yesterday. So now you can't get anything done when you got a house full of people. All right, here we go. Spring Major. We got brand new holes here. Let's look at them. Let's look at them. So I'm at Tommy's site because Golf Clash Notebook isn't updating its stuff. So what is the name of this course? Does it say Sierra Plateau? I have not seen them at all. I haven't done any practice. I haven't even been out there. So today is Monday's qualifying round. So I'm going to just go out and I'm not worried about qualifying today. I'm just like want to look at the hole. So if I don't take the first shot or don't do anything, that's just part of the deal. So I'm not sure here from the first tees whether we can, like, par fours are, I mean, usually we have a way to get on par fours. Not every par four, but like whether we can go down into this area and go straight at it, or whether we've got to come around from this side. I'm assuming. I have no idea. So let's go out there and look at it. It's hard to tell with all those trees what the look is out there. So let's set up some bags. I've been dinking around playing some one-on-one on my auto account because I can sit down and watch TV and with the house full of people while they're all talking, and I can play a little bit. I'm playing on my odd account. I like that bag. There's my accurate bag. There's my utility bag. Let's fix this one. Let's make sure I got a bag with a Goliath. There's my APOC bag. So we'll start off with I'm not sure what the deal is here, so we'll start off with a Titan, the king of balls. We'll see where that takes us. We'll see. Hole number one. And like I said, I'm not going to be too worried about timing out or doing anything. It's more important to figure out what kind of clubs we need, what the deal is. First look. That way I can be a total fool in front of all of you while I'm doing my first look. Wow. Can you hit underneath those trees? I guess you can. I guess you can. I don't think there's any way of hitting around them. Is there any way to hit around them? No, not to get all the way over there. And those trees on the right-hand side kind of prevent you from doing a full hook. So it looks like we're just going straight forward. We'll see. Hitting it perfect. El perfecto. See if I can just roll out there. I don't know, it looks like it's just slightly downhill from where I'm at. I guess that's the spot. If you bring out a bigger power ball and you had something with more topspin on it, you might be able to overpower it and get it over to the other side, but those sand traps are kind of right in your way. With some topspin boost, you might be able to do that. Just try and go straight forward. And get it all the way over to the other side. Because it looks like you're going right into the trees from that angle, but but when it's going through the trees there, you got plenty of room. There's max club. So I'm at max kingfisher, so it's 3.2 divided by. I'm just going to do the 3.2. I think it's a little downhill. Let's put on a couple backspin. Just going to do the 3-2. If I can get lined up with the wind. Here's 3-2. Hitting it perfect. So it's 1.1 per ring, and it looked like, and that was a slight underpull. It was 1.1 per ring, and I was going to add on 10%, so that would be, those two numbers would balance each other out. So I just did the 3-2, but it looked like I needed to maybe add on a little, like another 10%, so a 20% adjustment. I'm going to have to work on that one and see. I should go practice that hole one time with a big ball that's got some topspin boost. See if you can blast it over to the other side. It's still not bad from down there being in short iron. I had a little bit of room on my red line. I kind of liked where I was at. If I was in a headwind day with a 3-power ball, I would have had enough room to work out wind on a headwind day. I think if I'd have brought out a Katana and we would have had headwind, I would have had some issues trying to set that up. I would have probably had to run a little bit of topspin in order to separate myself from the red line. Not bad. I always want to look for ways to try and get on and one on these par 4s, that's for sure. So there might be a way to get all the way over there. I don't know. I'm not sure if you can get on. Let's take a look at that hole again. Let's take a look at it. So you can make it underneath those trees. And I had to take a little bit off in order to get into this area. The question is, like, if you brought a bigger power ball and you had topspin boost, whether you could bleed out here. I mean, obviously you don't want to, you're running at this point trying to get over to the fairway. So I don't see you running through this sand. So you'll have to aim towards this area right here, which means that your best bet would be that you could get into that area right here, which gives you a wedge to the cup, as opposed to from here max long iron, or excuse me, short iron. And you're definitely, if this is max short iron, here's probably minimum short iron. So you're deep in wedge. I mean, if you could make it over to this spot, that's not quite a gimme, but damn, that's close. Close. I'm not sure you can make it through all this shit though. I thought at first maybe you could do a max curl shot, and if you could get a bounce here and you had a topspin boost ball, you might be able to get the run to come through. That would give you an angle towards the cup, but it looks like these trees out there on the course are way too close. If you did a max curl shot, you're going to end up right in the trees. Like, you might be able to do a curl shot enough to get you maybe a bounce over here, maybe out into this area. I think if I was hitting over to the right-hand side, I'd probably want to try and stay on this one as opposed to this one, even though when you draw the arc, you're probably in the same distance range from the cup. But this one here gives you a straight approach to the cup where you can possibly avoid that sand, where here you've got to contend with the sand. But I think just going straight forward gives you a pretty good shot at it. We will see. I'll come out there with a bigger ball and I'll try that out maybe in tomorrow's round, or I'll do that in my, well, I don't have any topspin boost balls in my odd account. All right, from the front tees, we definitely have a rough bump here. We definitely have a rough bump that we can do from here to try and get up. Whether or not we have enough topspin, I'll either use my my Grizzly. It's probably timed out. How could that not time out? I'll take a Quasar, so I get a little bit. I probably don't need a Quasar. It's probably better to use a Navigator just for the cut the wind down a little bit, but just in case I need some spin. We'll start off with a Grizzly and see if it's got enough top spin to get me there. If not, I can bring out my number 4 bag, and it's got a Goliath in it. Doesn't look like a very long hole to me. There's a long iron right there. Where are you at in your club? They're not going to show us where they're at in their club. Definitely looks like we have a nice rough bump right there. And that's about 2 per ring, and they moved it about 2 rings. It's hard to tell when somebody eyeballs it like that. Hard to tell. I'm just going to do a straight up shot wherever I'm at in my club. So there's max, there's min, so I'm about mid club. Mid club should be 1.0 plus 1. So it should be 5.2. Ah, great to the right. Great to the right. That was great to the right. I almost think I should have put on a little bit of left-hand spin so that I could have moved it over to the right a little bit more and gave myself just a little bit of separation from that tree. Because a great to the left right there could have been disastrous. Put on like 1 bar of left-hand side spin. That way you can move it over to the right just a little. Just give yourself a little bit of breathing room. Try it out. You're setting the shot up, so you want to set it up for success. Do we all go into it wanting to hit perfect every time? Abso-freaking-lutely. But do we all hit perfect every time? No. So, you know, set it up so that on those rare occasions where you don't hit it perfect. So I set it up so it was going straight at it. But if I'd have set it up so that I had 1 bar of left-hand side spin, I could have set it off to the right a little bit more and gave myself a little bit more separation from that tree. That tree looked like it was pretty close. Like a 1 ring, great to the left. I think I had enough room there. It probably wouldn't be a big deal, but why not give yourself a... It would really... I will tell you, it sucks when you're on par 3s and you get a par. It's so important. I mean, we go into all these par 3s and we're looking for hole-in-one, and then you end up getting a par, and we've all done it. If you've played a lot of tournaments, you've ended up with a par on a par 3, and it ruins your entire round. I mean, anytime you drop one off minimum score, it ruins your round. But getting a par on a par 3 really, really, really sucks. Bad. Hard. I like that hole, though. I think next time I try it, I'm going to do... just the same thing. I'm just going to go straight at it. Just straight at it. All right, a big par 5 here. So the question on these par 5s is whether or not we can get from this tee, whether we can get down into here or whether we're hitting straight. So it looks to me, just by looking at it, that if you're going to hit straight, you need to get all the way to the end, because if we draw a line through this tree's covering, you know, this part of the fairway here. So either you're getting down to the tip, or that tree could be in your way where you're having to bring it around, or we're trying to hit over to this area right here. And really, if you're hitting to the right, you don't want to leave it short. That really gives you a shit shot. So you need to hit it past the shadow for sure. So either all the way down to the end so that you can really get a run at it. And it looks like where the pin's at, pins more towards the middle of the green, like you might need a ball that's got a little bit of side spins for your second shot if you do hit it out down here. If you're hitting it to here, you got a pretty straight shot at it. And if you can get into that area, if we draw our arc, you're definitely in a different club than you are if you're out in here. This is probably wood. This is probably long iron. We'll see. We'll see. This is why I know... So, I always like to go look at the photos, even though I haven't played the hole before and I don't know the distances and you don't know what the trees are going to do and the effect. Just kind of get an idea of what you're looking at before you go out there and play it. Sometimes I look at them and I think, wow, I can do that shot right there. And I get out there and it's like, shit, you can't even get half that distance. But some of these holes are short too. The wooded one, what was that other one? The redwood course that's out there. That course, like right here, this is I wouldn't even have thought about hitting it over here by looking at the image. This is definitely the way to go. And you can do it with a short ball, small ball. Yeah, I'm not into hitting it down to the end on the right-hand side down there. That looks really, really, really dangerous. But you can, it does look like you can bring a smaller ball out here. What's that, 4.5 topspin? I'm just going to do 3 rings. That should be 4 or 5. Ooh! Get on those fairways that have that undulation in it. You can catch the slide when you're popping in there. So I think maybe 4 topspin would be good. And that was probably 4 3/4 topspin that I had on there, but that could go sideways real quick. It's more important to end up in the fairway there than it is to end up long. It does look like you can recover from down there even if you end up long, but see what my opponent's doing. They're doing a big hook. Caught the fairway. I'm not sure if they were trying to get over to that little island. Now, if you brought a bigger ball out there, you might have some looks at it. Grizzly. So if I brought a bigger ball, if I would have brought a Titan, right now I'd be in short iron range. And short iron is always better than long iron. Always better. Much mo. So Grizzly at minimum club is 4.9 divided by 1.3 minus 1, so 365. There's 365. That's a straight up adjustment. It definitely is downhill. Oh fuck, and I hit it greater. Great again! Arrgh! I don't think I pulled that enough. I think I needed to do probably a +10, even though I hit it 1 ring great to the right. It's still a little farther than 1 ring great to the right off the cup. This is why it's so important to hit perfect when you're practicing, so you can make adjustments. I can't make any adjustment off that. I can guess and think that I probably need to add on about 10%, but and part of it is when I went to zoom down onto my rings, I couldn't get any closer than what I got. Usually if you can get down to the point where you can count the blades of grass, you know you're you got plenty of room. I'm going to miss my putt so that I don't qualify today. Let's drop a few shots. My opponent's like, what the hell are you doing, dude? First time I ever played the course. Come on, man. Come on, Kevin. Tried to get a hold of Dunner. Couldn't get a hold of him. I haven't talked to him in the last week. One of my wife's uncles died, and I had some family members that were in town, and then my wife's family descended on our house. Hole number 4. What is hole number 4? Hole number 4. Is this par 4? It's a par 3. We're going from this tee right here, going at it. Can't really tell underneath those trees. It does look like they're, I'm not sure where the trunk of this tree is, whether it's like in this area. It does look like the rough coming up in here, like there might be a rough bump that you can do, but we might just have to go straight at it. Let's see. We'll go look at it. Let's just go. Let's just go. Once again, I'm just going to do a straight up number. I'm not going to add on anything. I'm just going to do if it says plus, if wherever I'm at in the club. If I can get an opponent. All right. And there might be a rough bump from right there, but you definitely have to have a big side spin ball in order to get over there. And I think more than 3. There's max. There's min. I'm at minimum club. If I wanted to use my wood, I'm going to have to really get jiggy with it. I'd have to bring a guardian. Well, there is a spot out there where it's trying to give me this. What I think I need to do is bring out a bigger power ball so that I can get my wood, my wedge, or excuse me, my short iron. Okay, I'm going to go through every freaking club before I say long iron. If I brought out a 3 power ball, I might be able to get my long iron over on the other side so that I can get bounce number 1 there, and then bounce number 2 will be on the green, so that I'm not getting, there must be a hill right here, so it's affecting how the ball's rolling out. I don't think I've ever found a par 3 where you had to bring out a power 4 ball just to get to the right spot, but this might be one. Could bring a guardian. You can try and backspin it in. Or you can bring out, I think there is a rough bump from over there. If you brought out like a 4 or a 5 side spin ball, you might be able to swing it around. It'd probably take a 5 side spin ball. I'm going to try a Titan and see what that does. See if it gives me a window on the other side. The problem is that it might give me a window with any wind other than headwind. But if it's a headwind day, then it's going to cause, and then I'm going to have issues. See how much undulation's out on the course out there. Let's switch to a Titan, the king of balls, and see if it gives me a window. Just barely. Like I said, I wouldn't, if it was a headwind day, I'm not going to be able to take that shot, and it is definitely downhill. I'm going to do 30%. That'd be 5.2. So 1.3 times 4 divided by 0.9 be 577. Getting it dead center perfect. And 30% still wasn't enough. I really, if you wanted to go into that area, you almost need a 4 power ball. It would give you enough room to put it where you want, and you'd be able to work out a little bit of headwind. A 4 power low wind ball, or a low power, what? You could do it with your wood and try and do that rough bump, but you'd need a ball that has some side spin on it. And let's see what I got. I think the only big side spin balls that I have are power 5. And I do have some power 3. Something like that. At the 5 side spin. Might just get it done. If you can't get over there with 5 side spin, obviously you can't get it done because they don't have 6 yet. I'm sure they'll come out with it. Kind of a waste of a topspin boost ball. I think you can get there with a sniper. So if you're hitting out into this area right here, my red line could probably do it better with a 2 power ball, because my red line's going to be in this area. I had just a little bit of a window with my long iron, so it might actually be too much ball. So a 2 power 5 side spin ball might work better, and I don't think I have any of those. I don't think I have any low power balls that have more than 3 side spin. And that might be too much ball for that area. But I think it will definitely take 5 side spin if we wanted to do a rough bump from that area and then try and bring it around. It was a little bit farther forward, but I had just a little bit of a window, and my red line between my grizzly and my sniper is about that big. So I think where I needed to set up was like in this area. I might have had a little teeny bit of a window with that 3 power ball to try and get over there. The other way you could go at it, if you're having any problems on this hole, is to bring out your Guardian and literally go for it. It doesn't, I'm not sure you could try to do a dunk here, but you could definitely try and backspin it in. Definitely. Kmart sucks. All right, what's hole number 5? Hole number 5. Phew. Is this a par 5? This is a par 5. Hole 4, par 4. I wonder if we can get on any of these holes. It looks to me, because of this row of trees right here, that if we tried to go all the way out here to the end, we're not going to be able to try and go for it. Like from where the tee box is at, this tree might be in our way for us to try and go for it here. We might be able to squeak around it to try and get a bounce out here to try and go over. Or we're trying to get all the way down to the end of this finger. Now, if we go to the end of this finger, we have some benefit, because if we can get a run, we're only dealing, our worst case scenario is we end up in the rough out here and have to take a rough shot for the eagle. But we might be able to breeze through the rough and get over onto the green side. So let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens. Let's bring a Titan. I think I have a Titan. Do I have a Titan? I have a Titan. Hole number 5. Hole number 5. This is one of the reasons why it's so important to record yourself, especially when we're playing brand new holes. You can go out there and try some stuff out and then see what happens. You can go back and watch, and you can see where your red lines were and what you were pulling, and you can make better decisions, because your goal number 1 when you're writing your notes out, especially if you're new, your goal number 1 is to figure out what clubs you want to bring. I'm not even worried about trying to get any drops right now. My goal is to see where I can end up, and if I can end up there consistently. There's sometimes during the course of the week, I'll play a hole and I end up in a different spot every damn time. And so, like, I don't ever have any notes for what needs to happen at the end of the week, because, you know, I don't think I can put on max curl here. So this is definitely a hole that Kingmaker is probably a better ball. Kingmaker. It's because we can try and get all of that side spin on there. Where does that put me? I want to get as close to that stuff as possible. I'm going to leave the wind in. I don't think I can put max curl on it, because I'd hit that tree or those trees. Try and breeze out and get on the green side. Anytime you can get on the green side on a par 4, it's always better. Always better. We'll have to come here and do a max curl shot just to see if I hit those trees. It's hard to tell when the trees are this big. This is like that Sequoia course where the trees are so damn big, it's hard to tell. And I was aiming pretty much at the trunk of that tree, and with the curl just kind of working my way around it. Oh, they're doing a max curl. Let's see if they hit the trees. Let's see how close they get. They're not quite max curl, but they got a lot more on there than I did. And they got plenty of room. I prefer to set those types of shots up where you're doing max curl because it's more consistent. Now on my grid, I can go down there and put a custom tick mark so that I know, like, hey, when I'm working on that hole, I'm going to go to the green tick mark. This hole might be one that we can pick up a shot on. This is going to be a hole to really focus on as the week goes on, because so far we did have to take some shots from distance on the other holes. I think on the first par 5, if I'd have brought out a bigger ball, I'd have been in short iron range. And anytime you're on a par 5 and you can bring out your short iron for the shot going to the cup, that's awesome. That's a great opportunity. So I think hole number 3? Hole number 1, we get to take a short iron shot, but hole number 3, the first par 3, I think is very makeable. The par 3 we just got done playing, I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit, because that's all gonna be dependent on what ball you bring out. And the other thing I could have did to help myself out there too is I could have brought out a Goliath on that last par 3, because the Goliath would have pushed my red line forward quite a bit. Distance between a Grizzly max and a Goliath max, it does two things. Number one, if we go Grizzly Goliath, 129 to 135, that's quite a bit of distance out there on the course. But the other thing is that the Goliath is a max hitter, so that means that your distance between your red line, between your wood and your long iron, is almost non-existent. So when I was talking about I might not be able to, a power 3 ball might be too much to take it with my wood, it'd probably be just right to take it with my Goliath and take that shot on the last hole with my Goliath as opposed to my wood. This hole right here. And that's probably the way to go at it, now that I sit here and think about it. I'm not sure which club you'd be in, but I think Goliath's got more topspin than your Sniper, so even if you had to pull it back a little bit for your starting spot, you should have more than enough topspin to be able to get you up there. Hole number 6. Hole number 6. Well, this seems wide open. All right, with the rookie tees being down here, as opposed to the pro and expert tees, it looks like we're doing the lily pad. We're like this area out in here, trying to hit it all the way to the tip and then going towards it is always an option, because we got a clear path to try and get all the way down to the tip. So if we draw an arc out to the tip there and we draw our circle, we'd have to get onto one of these 3 lily pads in order to beat the shot that we'd have from here, as far as like what club we'd be in. So going for the first one to start off with, that gets us inside of that arc. Not sure where our bounces would end up. This might be a interesting hole. Interesting. Let's take my number 1 bag. It's got the most distance. I was playing one-on-one in my odd account, and was playing against a guy that had a APOC 7, and man, that's an awesome looking club. Awesome looking club. I liked all the topspin and stuff that was on there. Nice. Nice. Very nice. All right, let's see if we can get something going. Maybe. My opponent goes first. Let's see which way they go. They got an APOC 6 and a white ball. They're going to the left. Try and get all the way out to the end. Now, big topper, if you're going to the left, a big topper might work. And you think about how much further your red line would be if you had a power 3 ball. Or even bigger. I always like to start these off by looking at what can a power 3 ball do. Try not to bring out a ball if you don't have to bring out a ball. Probably not going to need a Kingmaker. Titan should work just fine. I might be able to breeze out onto that, but probably going to have to use the wind. 3-5. I'm going to do a 2-ring pull. That's 4-2. I'll put that forward power back on it, which isn't a lot, but every little bit counts. Oh, that was 700 rings great to the right. It'll put me in the fatter part of the rough out here, so let's see where I was at as far as... I don't think I'd have made it. And they just barely got a window with a white ball. So you can't get it done with a lower power ball. The first par 5, hell, I went out there with a Quasar and was able to get it done. So once again, it seems like these par 5s, I'm just not sure about the design team who's putting these together. Do they not realize that they're ball manufacturers? And they're probably lucky they hit that so far great to the... It looked like they were going right at the tree if they wouldn't have hit it 2 rings great to the left. Good thing about it is that you can recover from out here very easily. Look how short these damn holes are. Now, I was short of that spot, so a toss and boost ball or having a bigger wind, because even if I would have hit it perfect, it would not have been on track. Two 6 should be about a ring and a third. I'm going to do a ring and a half. One ring great to the right. All right. I think a top spin boost ball would have definitely got me over to that island over there. And if I was that close with my long iron hits the actually my long iron hits 120. What was it? 126, and my rough iron hits 132, 131. If you're using a Nirvana, it hits 135. So your rough iron is basically a Goliath, so it's a long iron. And I would have definitely been in long iron range if I would have ended up on the island out there. And I would have probably been close to mid long iron. You'd have a pretty good shot from out there if you can make that little lily pad. So either let's look at that hole. So getting a bounce out here, getting a bounce here, trying to bleed off into this area, either a 4 power ball so that you can get farther on your shot. What you really need to look for on if you use a 4 power ball is to look at where your bounces are. Because like a 5 power ball, you go, well, I bring out a 5 power ball, I can get farther. Yeah, but your second bounce might be out here in the rough. And so, like, okay, hey, then now I can't use max overpower, and I'm gonna have to just let the ball like do its bounces, and then it nets you exactly the same area that you'd be in if you did a 3 power ball with max overpower. So a 3 power ball with topspin boost or a 4 power ball by itself might get the job done, but you got to look at the second bounce. But if you can get a pretty decent bounce out in this area on your arc from the tee box, I mean, hell, you can get pretty good distance out into here if you're running that direction, and this would be a pretty stable shot. So like, if you want to talk about your second shot is is the money shot. So like you could end up in the same spot out here every single time. So it's just over and over and over. You could really work this shot until you could get it to where it drops. Whereas if you go out into this direction, you do take the risk of one time you're in the perfect spot, and the next time you're in the rough, and the next time you're in the front of this pad, and the next time you're in the back of the pad, and the next time you're in the rough. And so this shot over here could be a little bit inconsistent as the week goes on. Whereas this shot over here, I think you could get to it every single time with just a basic 3 power ball. And if you do once again, if you do the arc, you're pretty much in the same club. If I would have been a long iron here, I think I'd be a long iron out here on the tip. All right, hole number 7. Hole number 7. All right, this is either a bounce steady bounce going to the cup, a rough iron, or a rough. But if it depends on how this hill goes, you might be able to start off in the tip down here, and it might be we'll have to see on how it's hard to tell when you're looking at these 2D pictures. My thought process when I'm looking at it is that from point X that it's going flat, and then it comes down, and then it comes back up to the green is what my impression is. There's a little bit of a divot right here. It looks like it might be going downhill. Sometimes when you're hitting down into these areas, you could use this as a rough bump. So if you hit down into this area right here, even though you're closer to the hole than you are with the rough bump here, because you're coming down on the slope, it actually acts kind of like a rough bump, even though you're hitting on the fairway. So we'll have to see on how this looks. We'll have to see what kind of look we get at it. Maybe if I can get back in the game. It's kind of hoping it's really good when we can practice brand new holes, and Dunner and I practice together, because we really can go out there and practice, because we can try out every ball that we have in our inventory, and he can try one side and I can try the other. It's always nice when I get to practice with Dunner on holes that are brand new. Unfortunately today, no dice. No dice. Where the hell? How am I in the qualification? Okay, these people haven't played yet. Like hell, I've dropped a bunch of shots. Come on, boys and girls. I got 3 holes left, and I'm at what was I at? 6. So if a 9 qualifies, I'm screwed. So I better get at least one more 0. And this looks like a good hole to get a 0 on right here. I did get the 1 eagle, though. I had to make that since I nailed that drive shot. Here we go. Maybe. It is a little downhill, but it's downhill, and then the green's right there. Rough bump. Where am I at my club? There's max. There's min, so there's mid. So I'm like 3/4 club. If you had a slider, that's about 75%. Wow. This is definitely a hole you want to know how much spin to put on it if you're going to do that rough bump. That's like 2.5 backspin. I'm just going to do 1 per ring. Man, that's way the hell downhill. I'm going to just do the 2.9. I'll just do 3. And we'll see what that does. Hitting it perfect. And that didn't even come. I didn't even hit the rough. Wow. And it's not like I didn't come close. I didn't come close. I'm gonna do a 60%. Like when that shit happens, make a drastic adjustment. I'd rather overpull it and hit the green side and now know that it's somewhere between 0 and 60 than I hit the fairway at the top of the hill. Now either I pulled that wrong. I have to go back and watch the video and see if I pulled that wrong, or that is just way the fuck downhill. That was 2.5 backspin. Times 3 is 4.8 rings. I guess I was a little close. If that spin works. There we go. 4.8 rings. Now I'm 2.5 rings into the rough. So if I hit the rough again, there's 5. Should have been a 4.8, but I moved at 5 just to be sure. Hitting it perfect. That was dead center perfect. The other one was definitely a force perfect. And even there, even there, it pushed me back. I probably only hit a ring into the rough. And that was with a 60% plus 0.2. That'd have been a 65% adjustment. Let's see what a 70 would have been. That'd have been 5.1. If the center, so one of my teammates asked me the other day, or I had a question about, like, is the center, because the theory is that if you pull to the center, so you have your ring sets, and if you pull all the way to the center of your ring set, is that 0.2? Well, is it 0.1 on this side and it's 0.1 on the other side, so it's actually 5.1 to the center? I've always thought of it, I never even think about this as being part of the deal, but evidently, like, the center point of the ring set is they say it's 0.2, but is that 0.1 on each side of the center line? Never really sure about that, but that would have been 5.3, so that'd have been about a 70% adjustment. 60 to 70, somewhere in that neighborhood. Well, that's what a almost hole-in-one, that's what a hole-in-one birdie looks like. All right, hole number 8. Hole number 8. It's got to be a par 4. Gots to be. Now, I always like, okay, obviously you can either hit it down here to the end, but there's just no way you're going to try and bridge this gap. Why would you when you've got fairway in front of you over here? So if you screw it up, you've got at least fairway. But taking shots like this and hitting into this drink, because you're having to bring it around the corner, you bring it too much around the corner, you can end up in, is that drink? It looks like it's a drink. Looks like it's agua. But this is definitely a hole. Now, when you're on holes like this, where our tee box is here and we're going off into this direction, look at how far you got to go before you finally get to the bend. So you're trying to make the turn at the very end of your run. Where you want the turn to happen is in the center of your run so that you can bring it around. But you start bringing it around here and you're going to bring it around right into the drink. So, like, trying to bring it around this bend and trying to just lay it out in front, or can you actually get on? Where's your bounces at? Can you get bounce number 1, bounce number 2, and then you're trying to bridge the gap? That seems damn risky. We'll see. We will see. This is where side spin comes in handy. You can try and warp that tail around, try and bring that tail a little bit around the bend, but usually when you're in the last quarter of the run and you need to make a turn, it's hard to make that turn. Now, if you can get out there far enough, you bring out a big enough ball, you can start your ball off here and you can try and jump over that water. But usually when that happens, you got to put on so much topspin in order to jump over the water. When you get to the other side, you're going about 5,000 miles an hour. Hitting it perfect. El Perfecto. See if they made a good wind adjustment. Looked to me like they're going to end up in the rough. And they did. They're definitely downhill from the hole from there. Let's see what a power 3 ball does. Let's see what a Titan can get done. Titan, the king of balls. So you're trying to get like over into that area so you have a short little chip to get on. Like over here you'd have to bring out a big power ball, and once again, in order to get your bounces right, you'd be carrying so much speed when you got over. And I think that's just going to run off into the sand. It's about 2 rings, 2 and a little. Hitting it perfect. Let's see how much movement's on this ball. It looks to me like it's either gonna roll off where my opponent's at, or it's gonna run too far. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. If I go back and watch the video, I wasn't even paying attention. I was just making the adjustment on the ball. I probably used 2 left-hand side spin there. It might be a situation where a bigger side spin ball would work out better. Even like a 3 or 4 or 5 side spin ball, so that you could start off more to the right and try and get away from that movement on the course to try and bring it around. In the hole. In the hole. Nice. Whatever my opponent did, go back and watch it. I'm at minimum. Well, I could be at maximum wedge. I'm at minimum short iron. I mean, and I am right at minimum. The minimum short iron is 2.1 per ring. So 3.1 divided by 2.1 is 1.47 rings. I'm going to do 1.5. It's 1.5 exactly. Oh, fuck. I think I've hit every short iron shot today. Great. That would have been pretty damn close. I think I over pulled it right there. If I'd have hit it perfect, I think it might have just breezed by on the other side. Nice. Nice. We don't want to qualify today anyways. I think I've got that set. No qualifying today. I want to be able to go for it on the last hole. And minus 11 right now. There's got to be more people coming up through the ranks that are going to get higher than that, so I can go for it on the last hole. I always like to be able to. You always want to be able to practice the shot from distance. So if you're trying to tank around, you got to make sure you leave yourself enough room to really be able to tank it. All right, this is another one of those ones. I mean, the shortest path between 2 spots is the straight line. So I mean, going on this side right here looks like the obvious choice, but sometimes that doesn't work out when you're out there on the course, although it looks to me like this is all rough in here. So if you're trying to go this direction, you'd really have to curl it around, and there's no way we're going to get a bounce past this. So I mean, it looks like it's pretty obvious that we're going to go to the right, but I could be wrong. I suppose if you're trying to go to the... Man, I don't know if I like the stuff on the left-hand side at all. But we'll have to see what it looks like out there on the course. You might be able to come over from here and then try and bring it around. But it does look to me like we're just going straight forward. Let's bring it Titan. Titan. I got that selected. Off we go. Hole number 9. Got a little bit of tailwind. Maybe. I was on that one par 3 that I got the second shot hole in one on at plus 60%. I can think of several other par 3s in the game that I've had a lot of success. There's one hole in particular I can think of where I do a 60% adjustment on it. When I watching Tommy or talking to other people or watching other people's videos, you know, like a plus 20 or plus 30, and then that shit wasn't working for me. So I was like, hey, let's just try something radical, and tried plus 60, and all of a sudden it started dropping shots. What's funny is it doesn't look like it's that far downhill on some of those holes, but you get out there and it's way downhill. Yeah, a bigger power ball so you can get all the way into that tip. Probably a 5 power ball, and you can get into that tip and see where the second bounce is at. My third bounce is right on the edge. So with like a 4 or 5 power ball, you can probably get over. You can get that second bounce farther forward so that you can run out the deal. Let's see if we can make that. I doubt that a 3 power ball has enough end tail to get over there. Just a little short. 4 power ball, definitely. I had plenty of room on my first and second bounce. A 4 power ball would have definitely got me up there. Although I will say that second bounce was a lot closer. It made it a lot further in that second fairway than I thought it was going to. So if you had a 4 power ball and you had a due tailwind, my experience lately with the way golf classes work the wind is that the due tailwinds are really affecting the ball. And so you could bring out a bigger ball and you could hit it perfect, and then you end up not getting any more distance. Like, look at where my opponent's second bounce is. If they do max overpower, I think that second bounce is going to hit in the rough, and they may not make it any farther than I did with the 3 power ball. Now, they're going to carry more speed. And so they were able to bump out just because they carried more speed, but you can see that, like, the 5 power ball was almost a waste. They would have been able to do the same thing and get their bounces right with a 4 power ball. So we can definitely make it from here. We're definitely in our club. I'm going to hit over to this spot just so I can see what it looks like. Because this is the spot we're trying to hit to. It looks pretty flat. Might be slightly downhill, but it looks pretty damn flat to me. Wish I knew where my opponent was at in their club. It's one of the things I'm surprised that more people don't check to see where they're at in their club. They're in their Goliath, so if they're using the app, they definitely want to find out where they're at so they can use a slider. And if they're doing numbers by paper like I'm doing, you still need to know where the hell you're at. So, and then they end up rimming it. Ooh, that was close. 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 Okay, there's shit, they were probably in like minimum club. I mean, I'm at minimum club. I could go. Do I have enough topspin to even get me up there? I do. .7 divided by 1.1. 3.36 rings. There's 3.36 exactly. Oh, and I hit a great. No, if I was going to hit a great one way or the other, that was the sides. Because if I needed to add on, that was the side to do it. Dead center. So like maybe a plus 5%, maybe a plus 10. Could go for it. Watch that on. No, I won't qualify with a minus 11. Let's hope. And that gives me a tiebreaker on people with an Albie, but come on, there's only one person at 11. Let's not qualify today. Let's not qualify on the first time through, especially with all the shots that I dropped. So there's a lot of opportunities on these courses. I'm just mystified with I like the design, like when you're out there on the course. Oh, minus 10, that's good. That won't make it. That won't make it. Let's look at that round. Oh, I shot it over there. Okay. Phew. It's like, how did I end up with minus 11? I thought I was at minus 8. Okay, good. Good. I chipped it over to that spot. Now it's all becoming clear to me. So minus 10 will not make it. All right. Minus 14 at the top. Looking at these holes, especially these par fives, I like the layout of these courses, like the design of them. Like if you were out there walking the course, they're beautiful. But I'm mystified at the fact that Playdemic is a ball manufacturer. They sell 4 and 5 power balls. They sell balls with 4 and 5 side spin. They sell top spin boost balls. They sell all the shit. And one of the par fives, I was able to get done with a freaking Quasar. Like, the only way you should be able to get over to this is if you bring out a 5 power ball with top spin boost. And like, if you didn't buy one of those balls, you're looking for this island right here. So you're coming at it from distance. I'm just mystified at it seems like the courses are shorter and they've made them easy, especially the majors. I mean, the majors should be the hardest. I mean, it's like if you watch real golf, they don't go to the master. They go to these other courses and they shoot minus 27 under at the end of the week. But when they go to the Masters, they shoot, if they're 1 under, it was like a great week. The courses are super tough. And I haven't seen super tough courses for these newer ones that they've been coming out with, because we definitely have some opportunities here. A couple of these par fives, we had great opportunities for Albie, where we could take it with our short iron. I mean, think about how many par fives are in the game that you can take with a short iron and you didn't have to bring out a special ball. And even if you brought out a special ball, think about how many par fives in the game you can shoot with your short iron, even with a special ball, with a big power ball. Several of these par threes were pretty makeable. So I think the scores as the week goes on, and this is going to be one of those deals like the way it used to work in the past. We can get so much more practice now than we used to be able to get. People used to bitch about the practice and oh, you guys are trading notes and doing all this stuff, and then they came out with the practice thing and everybody was like, yeah, that's cool. Now everybody can practice and you can get lower scores to start off with. But the way it used to work is a course like this. The first time we ever played it, if you could shoot a 28, you had a really good chance of winning. And then the next time we played it, people have been playing it in one-on-one, and they've encountered it several times, and those scores would go down. People tighten up their notes a little bit, and the scores would go down. And usually, like maybe the second or third time, and then it really, and then we're talking 32 in order to even have a chance to win. But the way that these courses are set up, there's got to be at least 4 holes on this that are makeable, that you can easily put yourself into a position to make it. So if you're talking minimum score at minus 12 and you've got, 4 holes on each side that are super makeable, there's people out there that are going to make those 8 shots. So you start at 24, now you're at 32. So this is going to be another one of those weeks where, you're going to have to shoot better than a 30 in order to have an opportunity, just because there are some holes out here that we can definitely put ourselves in position. I do like the fact that there are at least one of the par 4s out here, we're going to have to shoot it from distance. I don't think that we're going to be able to get on in one where we can take that shot. We're going to have to set ourselves up and then take a shot from distance. But when you have par 5s that you can get yourself in the short iron range, that's a short hole. I like the course though. It's beautiful out on the course, but I think we'll be looking at some low scores as the week goes on. All right. Thanks for watching. Hopefully everybody has a great week. I'll try and get a hold of dinner, and maybe we can play around tomorrow. Or maybe we can play another round later on tonight with my auto account, and we'll come back out here and I'll have some base notes, but we'll see what goes on. But I'll definitely be playing this week. I don't have a house full of people, so we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. Everybody be safe.